How are you? Welcome again to more conversations about our immigrant ancestors. And the people we're going to talk about today, well, there are not a lot of them in America, but they're very unusual people from a very unusual country, and they have a wonderful cuisine. So I had to include them. They're from the land called Morocco. It's a wonderful place. On the map, you can see that it's in the northern portion of Africa. So it's African. It's atop the continent. But it's also a part of the world of Islam. And thus, it's a part of the Middle East. And it's also linked to Europe in that Morocco is only 9 miles from Spain. Isn't that fabulous? So it's a more than an international community. As far as I'm concerned, it's a major portion of the world that should be celebrated for a great cuisine and a fascinating culture. They're part of Africa, but they almost touch Europe. They're a gateway to the Sahara Desert, but they have incredible beaches, beautiful beaches. They were called the Berbers in the beginning, and the Greeks and the Romans in the old days. Oh, it's an old culture. The Greeks and the Romans in the old days called the Berbers, the tribe that lived there in Morocco, they called them the barbarians because of the Barbary coast. Not the reason that you're thinking of in barbarians. Anyhow, interesting people. Originally, they were nomads. That is to say, they rode around the desert, camels and all that sort of thing. But most importantly, they shared everything. To this day, the desert ethic is a matter of sharing, because in the desert, if you don't share, eventually, everyone will be in danger. Well, the Moroccans have always understood that. Strange history. Everybody invaded them, just everybody. The Phoenicians originally, remember, those were people we now call Lebanese. The Phoenicians invaded them, the Carthaginians, the Romans, 700 AD, the Arabs invaded. That's where the world of Islam, that's where the teachings of Muhammad came into play, and then later on Spain, and most recently France. So you can understand that every time they were invaded, their cuisine was influenced. In 1956, they finally declared a constitutional monarchy, which has been ruled by King Hassan II, and he is a direct descendant of the Prophet Muhammad. This is how he describes Morocco. This is the king's statement. He said, "Morocco is like a desert palm tree. It is rooted in Africa, watered by Islam, and rustled by the winds from Europe." Isn't that beautiful? I have a favorite Moroccan restaurant in Seattle. The Moroccan cooks that have come to this country are just a blessing. This place is called the Marrakesh, and it's fascinating. Craig and I went to greet them and have dinner, and my son Channing, the tall one on my right, came along with us. First of all, he's using some ghee or clarified butter to begin preparing the shish kebab. This is a lamb shish kebab, one of their house specialties. Oh, it's good. And this is a dish called chicken in 7 vegetables. And he's going to cook it along with, this is it, couscous, a most famous dish from Morocco. That's Ben. Well, that one is Craig, of course, but Ben is doing the cooking. And he's a wonderful chef and a wonderful man. The Marrakesh, it's in Seattle. Now, look how involved and lovely this culture is. First of all, we wash our hands in beautiful surroundings. This fellow even has little pointed toes on his slippers that point up. You know, it's just in a fez and all. It's lots of fun to play these ethnic games sometimes, because look at the size of the napkin. It's a towel. It's a towel. First of all, Bastilla, which is a chicken pie cooked with egg in the midst of a wonderful fila dough. And you have no silverware. To this day, most desert peoples do not eat with silverware. You eat with your fingers. Notice I'm using my left hand. Terrible mistake. I'll explain that to you when we do the show in Arab. Now here's the chicken with 7 vegetables that he's cooking on the couscous. And this dish is a wonderful bit of roasted rabbit in a lovely sauce of cumin and eggplant, of course. Isn't that gorgeous? And now I have, look at this. This is the lamb brochette. I don't know why he puts a little candle in the center, but it's kind of fun. You see, he has it stuck in an eggplant. The bread is offered. There are no additional plates. There's no silverware. And you have an enormous towel in your lap. So let's begin. It's delicious food. We each have a brochette. The lamb and eggs, and there's a lamb, oh, wonderful lamb dishes with almonds and sweets. It's a terribly romantic culture, it seems to me. Remember, oh, here's Ben coming out to check to see whether or not we liked everything.
This is so good.
More fun.
Where do you get rabbit?
Isn't that gorgeous? Remember, this is the land of Casablanca. Where's Bogey when we need him? I wish he were around. I'd have him right here, I promise. But it's a long-distance call, so we'll not do that. It's the land of Casablanca. It's the land of the midnight, very fancy taverns and the clinking of glasses and the men wearing fezzes and the cigar-smoked rooms and all the romanticism that Westerners think of. Now, let's cook. The first dish that we want to prepare today is couscous. Now, couscous, let me show you. You can buy this in a box. Where is this one made? I don't even know. This one is made in France. You see, the French had great influence in Morocco. They were the last people to invade, so to speak. So you buy a box of couscous, and it looks like this. It's a wheat product. It's sort of akin to bulgur, but it's certainly very different in preparation. I'm going to turn my back on you for a minute. 1 pound of couscous, I want to put in 2.5 cups of boiling water. Boiling. And we'll let this sit for a minute, and we'll talk about what happens. I have so many things going on today that I had to hook up a hot plate back here to boil my water. Incidentally, if you ever use hot plates in your kitchens, don't you dare let your children get near the place, because hot plates are very, very dangerous. Things fall off of them quickly. Okay, 2.5 cups. Now watch how quickly, you can almost see it absorbing now. Look at that. Isn't that fascinating? Now in the meantime, just let that set for a few minutes. We're going to prepare some ghee. Now ghee is butter that has been, several sticks of butter, and you simmer this in a pan until the milk solids turn a tiny bit off color, not quite tan, but just a little bit, and they'll settle to the bottom. You pour the melted butter off the top. Now ghee, you see, because it has no milk solids in it. See how clear and nice it is? Contrast that with regular butter, and you see that regular melted butter has all kinds of milk solids in it, you see? See the mess? That's what we want to get rid of. And ghee will keep a long time because it's the milk solids that go bad, not the fat itself. All right, look what's happened. It's done. Look at that. The water's gone. It's been absorbed. So we put that in a big bowl. We're making couscous. Please, it is not complicated. Remember that. Put that in a big bowl. Come on out of there. There we are. And add to that a bit of salt. Oh, a couple of pinches, you know. And now we're going to have fun talking about couscouserie. The equipment that you can use is just fabulous. A little butter. No, not butter, ghee. I want about 3 tablespoons of ghee. And then you break this up. Now, you have to be careful because it has to be done with your fingers. Otherwise, it'll be lumpy. You see? Toss this about. Now, this goes in a couscouserie. What is that? Well, it's expensive is what it is. Not the grain. The grain isn't expensive. But the devices that they use for cooking these were made in France. These are fancy aluminum couscouseries. You see, they come in 2 parts. And in the bottom, can you see this? In the bottom, I have the stew. This is a lamb stew. Then on the top goes the steamer, and there is the couscous. So the couscous is being steamed in the flavored moisture from the lamb. Wonderful. These cost $75 a crack. The pot, I mean. That's bizarre. I bought 2. I can't help myself. You think I'm in trouble? Let me show you this one. When Craig and I, my cook, were in France, we went to Dilaran. Dilaran is a most marvelous place. They have copper that you wouldn't believe. Look at this one. This is a copper couscouserie. See, the couscous goes in the top. See the hole? And the stew cooks in the bottom. Isn't this beautiful? This would serve 40 people, I bet. I've never cooked in it. I haven't the nerve because it's worth about $750. Don't laugh at me. You are addicted to some things too. And I've told you about mine. I'm addicted to cooking equipment. No, I don't expect you to buy one of these. What you can do is go to a local supermarket, one of those places that sells stainless steel cooking gear. This one cost me about $35. It's good stainless steel, and it's a pot, you see. It's so wet in the bottom. We used it this morning. Anyhow, see, you can use this for making couscous. Wonderful. Wonderful stuff. Let me get rid of that. Come here, you. My $750 pot, turn on the water faucet back here. The couscous then is broken up and placed on the top of, just put it in the top here, and then let that cook. See how it begins to fall apart? Oh, it's gorgeous stuff. Let that cook for about 20 minutes or so, and then get in and break it up again. I'll show you what I mean. By breaking it up, I mean that you've got to discipline. Oh, where are we going to put this? Here we are. Discipline your grains. Let them fall apart a bit. Ben used a little metal gadget, you see, and he broke them up, and then he put his finger in the pan. See? Then they'll cook beautifully this way. These are done. These are just about done. All right. So couscous. Now, if you do not want to buy a couscouserie, and I expect that you are wondering about me, you probably don't want to buy one, do the same thing that I just told you about. Same amount of water, same amount of couscous, same amount of salt and butter, and then put it in a frying pan. Thusly, you see? And cook it for just a few minutes with the lid on, and then you'll have to break it up before you serve it. Be careful that you don't brown it. Oops, see that? Look at that. See that brown? Not supposed to do that. I've been talking instead of watching this. But you can avoid that if you just, as long as you don't have your own television show, you can cook this stuff, and it'll be great. Now, let's do a good dish and a quick one here to show you what kind of stews you might want to put in the bottom of the pot. For instance, here's a lamb tagine or stew. Here's a couple of pounds of lamb. Let me get, the recipe here is so interesting. You've seen both methods of couscous. All right, 2 pounds of lamb. Let's get started. A teaspoon of salt. All of this goes in one pot. That's fine. And then we need to add some pepper, 2 teaspoons of pepper. This is a Turkish coffee grinder that I bought in Greece, and I use it for a pepper grinder when I make Moroccan food. Boy, you know which country I live in, don't you? I live in America. Our immigrant ancestors have brought us so many things that make our life so much more exciting than it would have been if we'd simply stuck with the English, you know? Although the English do make up the largest immigrant group in America. Did you know that? They're the largest. Then we go to the Germans and on down the line. The Moroccans are hardly even listed. There's so few people here. Now, I'm going to use some colored powder. Where did I put this stuff? Here we are. Some colored powder that you can buy in a Mexican shop or a Middle Eastern shop. It's kind of a saffron sort of thing. Otherwise, you can use saffron, but it's very expensive. So I'm just using a teaspoon or so of color, what they call color, or saffron. You can use saffron if you'd like. It'll cost you about $6 for that amount, but that's all right. That's what you should use. Then we want to add some ground ginger. Now, this is dry ginger. I want about a teaspoon of dry ginger. Normally, you see, when I'm cooking with you, we use fresh ginger because I'm so hung up on Oriental food. But in this case, we want a dry ginger. And then I want some garlic cloves. Oh, a couple cloves chopped up. 1, 2. I know this dish sounds really strange and really unusual and terribly involved, but it's not. 1 large onion chopped up. Just throw it in the pot. Look at all the onion. Boy, that's a big onion. Kit cut that up. I don't know where he gets them. That's plenty. Do you see the color beginning to form already from that powder when it hit the onion juice? See that? This will give it a bit of a yellow tinge. And then we want about a cup of chopped parsley. That's plenty. And we're going to add to that 3 tablespoons of ghee. Just about 3 tablespoons. That's fine. And 2.5 cups of water. Boy, this sounds involved, doesn't it? But it's not. 2.5 cups of water. Put the lid on that and let it cook for, about an hour and a half. Let it simmer for an hour and a half. So we'll pretend that we've done that, right? Hour and a half. When it's done, after an hour and a half, I mean, it will look something like this. Hope I have the right one. I do, yes. There we are. Let me light that burner. And now we'll finish it off. And listen to the romantic things that go into the pot. Now you'll understand Casablanca a little bit better, because it really is a country of the following ingredients. We want to add to our pot now some preserved lemon, no pulp, but lemons. I learned to make these. I've got to plug a book. I don't normally do this sort of thing, but I have a really dear friend by the name of Paula Wolfert, who has written a wonderful volume called Couscous. I think she did this in 1973 or something. It's an old book. It's been reprinted I don't know how many times, but it's just the best on the market. And in the book, she talks about pickled lemons as if it's heaven. What you do is to quarter a lemon Let me get a spoon here. You quarter a lemon, thusly, you see? And it still holds together. You don't quite cut it all the way through. Cut it not so that it falls apart. And we want half a lemon for this dish. You soak them in salt for days and days and days. She adds some interesting spices and herbs to hers that she claims she found from some sultan or something. I don't remember the story. But this is what you do. Take out the pulp. We don't want to keep that. These lemons are at least a month old in the salt. And then we'll chop that with, discard the pulp. This goes out. No, I don't know how to be frugal with that. I don't know how to save it. I wouldn't know what to do with it. We want to chop that up and add it to, chop it up fairly fine, and then add it to our pot of lamb and herbs and spices that we already have simmered for about an hour and a half. Got that? All right. Now to that, see, doesn't this begin to have a wonderful flavor? I know you can smell it at home. Preserved lemon peel, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. In a lamb stew, yes, we're talking Moroccan. 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and cook that for about 15 minutes. The fun continues. After another 15 minutes, then add about 2 tablespoons of orange blossom water. And you buy this at any Middle Eastern store. 1, 2, that'll do us. If you're using the French volume, which is, the French bottle is much smaller, much more concentrated than one that is from the Middle East. So use a little bit less if you're using the French one. And, are you ready for this one? We want about 1/4 of a cup of honey. Oh, isn't that gorgeous? Now let that simmer. Oh, salt and pepper a bit. Let's put some salt and pepper in there and then let that simmer for a while. Where's my spatula here? Well, I better find another one. There we go. Let this cook until it thickens up nicely. Don't forget the salt and pepper. Let me check. Oh, play it again, Sam. This is the most wonderful, well, show you how to serve it. I have one all prepared, of course. The one that's in the couscouserie here. Couscouserie is a fancy name for couscous maker, but that's what we're doing today. How hot is that? That's very hot. Isn't this flamboyant? I don't want you to get a copper one. I've never even cooked in mine, but this is so much fun. You can make it in a stainless steel one. That's all right. Here's the couscous. Let me get a plate, and I'll put some couscous on the platter, and then we'll put, wow, that syrup from the lemon. It has no sugar in it. It's salt that draws the juices out of the lemon, and it turns very sticky. It's surprising. You'd think it had a lot of sugar in it, but it doesn't. It just doesn't. Well, I'm losing my paddles here. This is hot. We'll put a bit of the couscous. You see how lovely that is? Put a bit of the couscous on the platter. This is all eaten with the fingers, even the couscous. And on the bottom, oh, I love this stuff. I make this for the boys. We used to have this when they were tiny little kids, and they've always loved it. Always loved it. There are times when I've made couscous with farina wheat, cream of wheat, and eat that with your fingers. For little kids, it's easier to hold cream of wheat together in a ball with some gravy than it is to hold this stuff because it falls apart, you see? And it should fall apart. It takes a lot of work to do this. You have to keep breaking it up with your hands or with a spatula, you see, during the cooking process. And then you'll have some wonderful, wonderful things. But cream of wheat's easier for little kids. Oh, and they think it's fun. When the boys were little, incidentally, recent report, somebody asked me in the street, how are the boys? Well, Channing is 21, studying television. Jason is 19 and studying drama. So I'm doing pretty well. And Patty is still running her bookstore. But when we were little kids, when they were little kids, we used to love to make couscous and sit around because you could eat with your fingers and no one would tell you to stop it. So it's wonderful fun. Here you are. This is a lamb tagine over couscous. Now I'm going to remove the star. Isn't that beautiful? I'm going to remove the star from the flag of Morocco. The flag is all red with the Star of Solomon in the center. This one was made by Marion for me. You can see it was cut. It looks like a Sunday school teacher cut this, isn't it? She was a Sunday school teacher for 35 years. So Marion, we salute you. Now, that takes care of the lamb tagine. I'm going to just dish up some other things here. We have some briwats. Here we are. Here's the order I want. These things are cooked with filo dough. Let me show you what filo dough is. You can buy this in any delicatessen, and it's a staple in the Far East, particularly in the Middle East, particularly in Morocco. You buy sheets of filo dough. The Greeks love this. The Turks love it. The Arabs. Oh, everybody loves it. You see this stuff? It's one single sheet. If I can open one up for you here. You just, well, come on. Don't stick together on me now. This is no time to stick. But here's one. It's just like tissue paper. And you buy this in any Middle Eastern delicatessen or any fancy food market. See? Keep it covered when you're using it. Keep it covered with plastic wrap and then a wet towel. My friend Kathy Casey taught me that. And it works. That way it won't dry out on you. Now, what do they do with it? What don't they do with it? First of all, they make briottes, which are little triangles filled with lamb and cinnamon and wonderful seasonings, and then rolled up, little triangles rolled up and then baked, you see? Or if you like, you can pan fry these. That's what I did. These are wonderful. Just wonderful. As a matter of fact, I think I like them pan-fried better. Pan-fried briottes, lots of butter or ghee on these, and they make a very interesting menu. Craig, you've got a lamb going here. Why don't we get you some room and come and cut it up here for me, will you? All right. I'll get to you in a minute and find out what's in the lamb after you get it cut up. There we are. 2 kinds of briottes. Now, here's a third one, a third way that this is used. These wonderful dishes are used. Excuse me, I need a couple of platters here for you. These are called the burek. And one is filled, I hope I can get this out of the pan for us. One is filled with lamb and pine nuts. Can you see the pine nuts? See those little pine nuts? These are wonderful things. And you used to eat them with your fingers. And the other one is filled with cheese. As a matter of fact, where is it? Here it is. As a matter of fact, it's a couple kinds of cheese. There. All right. Get that one out for you. Now, while he's getting his lamb ready, I have to show you a couple of more dishes from the oven. We have prepared some... Oh, we've just got food all over the place, Craig. Here's a wonderful... Ouch. Yes. Oh, this is good. This is a wonderful lamb stew made with lamb meatballs, and on the top of it, you put, look at this, you put poached eggs. Is that not beautiful? And it's called kefta. Kefta. And if you don't cry when you eat this, you're no good at all. It's so delicious. And here's one that I've cooked in a traditional cooker. It looks like the traditional tagine. And this is a murder to carry around the table like this. Let me get the lid off this for you. Chicken with olives. Isn't that something? And finally, Craig, how's your lamb? What have you got on that roast?
Well, this is a roasted leg of lamb. It has been rubbed with ground coriander, a little cumin, crushed garlic, paprika, black pepper, salt, and then rubbed with some ghee, which is that clarified butter you were talking about.
Give me those again, slowly. Coriander, garlic,
crushed garlic, paprika, cumin.
Okay, cumin is common in Morocco. What else?
Black pepper, a little bit of ghee, which is a clarified butter you're talking about, and salt.
Now what are you going to do?
Once you slice that, what you want to do is make a little blend of salt and ground cumin. So you just
more cumin.
Yeah, they love that. They just love it.
Little
just blend
salt
that around a little bit.
Isn't this fun?
And you sprinkle this directly on the slices of meat, and it's
as you serve
it's fantastic. Just delicious.
I love it. All right, one last one. Here we go. Here. You remember the first dish we had with Ben? Is there anything else, Craig?
I think that's it.
Okay. Is this not enough? The food's just gorgeous. Let me turn this lamb around here so you can see him. I don't need a spot for my next one here. When the pastilla was served, it's just a time to celebrate and cheer. This is like an upside down cake. It's a layer of filo dough on the bottom of a frying pan. Then you fill it with chicken and seasonings and cinnamon and sugar and some scrambled eggs and more on the top, more filo dough on the top, lots of butter. Then you bake it and then you turn it over. But you see, mine isn't as attractive as his because I don't have any powdered sugar on it. Let me show you. He had a gimmick he used. This is my grill that I use all the time in the kitchen. And I like that pattern. I'm just going to set it right on top. Boy, I hope this works. Because if it doesn't, we're all going to look pretty silly, huh? And this is powdered sugar. So we'll just sprinkle powdered sugar in the top. Yes, it's very sweet. And you think, for a first course? Well, it's kind of fun. Kind of fun. As a matter of fact, Channing and I were fighting over this. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that a beautiful thing? And it's very crunchy. Listen to this, listen. You see? Isn't that great? Oh, it's just delightful stuff. There it is. Moroccan cooking. A lot of lamb, a lot of couscous or wheat, and a lot of filo dough. And then wonderful things like orange blossom water and honey. We made couscous, roast lamb, briwats, pastilla. We made wonderful lamb tagines and chicken with olives to be served with couscous because it's Moroccan. I'm glad we could be together. I'll see you again soon for more Immigrant Ancestors. This is the Frugal Gourmet. I bid you peace. Bye-bye.